Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and we'll go back to another a video of me reacting to another trailer, and for those of yes, I did see some of the trailers that premiered at Comic-Con, like the Justice League one, then Wonder Woman, Kong Skull Island, Doctor Strange, and I saw those ones, but I'm not gonna talk about those ones. But I'm gonna talk about the ones that well, this one in particular where it was a surprise. It was supposed to surprise us. Okay, now a while back there was a trailer for a horror film, found footage. It was entitled "The Woods." Sounds like a typical generic horror film title, "The Woods." And I saw that and didn't interest me, even though like there was like one. I was like, now there's a lot of horror films like this. They always how it's always like one of the best horror films in recent years and etc. That kind of stuff that people say, and they put that in the trailers. Like the Gallows in the trailer for that one was like, it'll scare the living hell out of you. Well, I saw that movie and it didn't. So yeah, it's just those quotes you see in trailers. Oh, like how it's like that. Well, that's how this shows some of those for this trailer called "The Woods," and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? It's gonna have another downbeat ending like every other most of it, a very horror found footage film. Although there's been quite a few that did things a bit differently. But then but evidently that The Woods was not really the title. It was supposed to basically this title was supposed to cover up what the real title is. It was supposed to surprise people at Comic Con, and it's actually called Blair Witch. Yeah, so Blair Witch, and it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the 1999 classic, The Blair Witch Project. Why don't you just call it the Blair Witch Project 2, and just call it instead of if you're just gonna just call it Blair Witch, first of all, why not just go all out and say the Blair Witch Project 2, basically? But just just shortening it for Blair Witch. Now, the Blair Witch, which I have right here, this is a movie that I absolutely love, and I remember seeing it all the way back in 1999. Now, one day I would like to do a review of this, but I do remember this film. This came out the same weekend as Deep Blue Sea was. Yeah, um, July 30th, 1999, for to be exact. And I remember seeing. Now, sadly, this film I never got to see in the theaters because I saw Deep Blue Sea at the time. Really enjoyed seeing the movie in the theater. Just to be fair, but I remember seeing this on VHS back when we had VHS was popular, I guess. But and just reading on the back of the like what it says right here, and I really enjoyed it, and I would say that's one of the very few horror films that I found was genuinely creepy, atmospheric, and I loved it all that. And of course the gears of like coming to back to like today times, and that's a movie that people say it's an out of date movie because we're using it from a handheld camera, and but and over the years I would say some people don't care for the movie. Well, if you don't care for the movie or don't like the movie, that's fine. Everyone's opinion though, but I just don't understand because when this film came out, it got widespread acclaim. It has an 86% Rotten Tomatoes. Although it has a 6.4 in IMDb, which I don't get. That is way too low for this movie. I would give it a much, much more higher rating than that. But 86% Rotten Tomatoes, I would say is good though. But I would give it like a 90-some% to me though. But it was a unique horror film, and how it did things. This is a film like changed and started the whole thing for the found footage genre, or redefined the found footage genre basically. And I enjoy the three leads. Heather Donahue, Michael Williams, and Joshua Leonard. I enjoy the three leads. It was very creepy. It was atmospheric. Like Becca Harris is even Roger Ebert gave this film 4 stars, calling it an effective horror film. And Becca Harris says he gives a thumbs up, saying creative, inventive, and ingenious, which I absolutely do. I do agree with that with Roger Ebert. May he rest in peace. Other ones like here chills you right to the core, scary as hell, genuinely frightening, one of the creepiest films since The Exorcist. So, yeah, and especially with ending, which people will think is that's not a good ending, but more than that, though, this one was a classic, and I would like to review that film sometime, maybe in October, maybe. But now and also in 2000 they came. I think it was in the year 2000 or 2001. I forget what year. Then Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, and that sucked. And now this one they said they just surprised us. It's Blair Witch, not The Woods. So, and it's supposed to be a direct sequel. And I saw this trailer, the Comic-Con trailer, and I'm not interested in it. That's what I'll say. It just looks like just because it has Blair Witch in the name, it just makes it look like a typical found footage film, like the past few times other ones I've seen previously. Yeah, it just and. Oh, and plus, to me, it plays on a lot of the same things like the first one has. And say, I'm watching. It's like, okay, I'm rewatching the first film, except this is done in a 2016 paint job, basically. It's basically the first film, but we're done with the 2016 paint job, And plus, this was like an original handheld camera, and probably the people using in the film probably using these newer cameras and stuff to make it much more clearer to see. Oh, because all the old footage in the first film was like, oh, it's old and it's not that good quality, and I don't buy that. The first film was really atmospheric to look at, and people probably didn't like some people don't. One of the problems that people think it's with the first film was that it was more of a slow burn movie. How it slowly builds it up, which I thought I liked it because it takes the time with the three leads, building their investigation, getting the story about the legend and everything, and them getting to the woods, and people say they don't care for that, but I like it because it's building up how it is in the movie, and until it gets to its very creepy moments. But this one it's basically a place to say because okay, the guy who says they found this video online because someone apparently found the video from the first movie. And the guy says this might be the video about his sister Heather from the first movie. It's this guy's sister, and he wants to go out there and look for her. And the woman says, and this other girl says, where's things she's been up to for over the past 15 years, Because I guess it's 15 years. It's it's been close to like to. What's it? 1999 2016. Yeah, it's 17 years, yeah. So, close to that. So, yeah, it's playing the same thing, when they go into the woods, and of course they see the stick figures, the resemblance of the Blair Witch, whatever. And, they're always, we going around in circles, and you were lost, and little strange things start happening. And I'm just watching this, okay, this is playing like this, like a typical cliche found footage film. Which, yeah, just because it's titled Blair Witch just doesn't mean. And you throw like the stick figures as the symbol of the Blair Witch. It just looks like another typical found footage film it's gonna have a downbeat ending, like most of them have. And it's like, oh, there's the house, and that's not your sister, and much more shake cam, and more things starts happening in that house, and there's a bunch of lights and everything, and I went now, of course, what also made it unique about the film, like, oh, was there a witch, really? Because you never saw a witch in this, but I wouldn't be surprised, like, if, like, cut to the very end, you see a witch. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But it's just, I don't know why they needed to do this. I mean, Book of Shadows sucked, and the first film was like a very unique horror film. It was like also like I said before, like in trailers they posted like things like for the this is this and that for horror films. Like I'm watching the trailer, it's like one was like a new beginning for horror films, and I'm thinking no, it's not because some. Like it's like stuff we've seen done before, and another one says a truly terrifying cinematic experience. This one is a truly terrifying cinematic experience, and this one wasn't. This one I assume to believe because it was very much a scary movie of its time in the late '90s. This film is scary as hell. I would definitely say that. Terrifying. When I look at that film, this new one, I don't see anything terrifying about it. This film I would say is more terrifying. I would say this film was more creeped out by this movie because of its uniqueness, I would say. And in other words, it's one of the scariest movies ever made. That one I completely disagree with. One of the scariest movies ever made. Now this I would say is one of the scariest movies ever made. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or even the original Halloween, because back then when I was younger, that film scared me, so I could definitely say the original Halloween was. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, yeah, I would say this film. A lot of people say the original Exorcist, one of the scariest ones. I can understand that, but I don't say that about the Exorcist part, though. But well, the Exorcist, many people say it's one of the scariest movies ever made. The Exorcist. I can understand that one. But I watched The Exorcist and I'm like, I can understand though, but I would say it's not one of the scariest movies ever made. I mean, everyone has their own opinions, so. But this new one of the scariest movies ever made. No, this film I'm gonna say is one of the scariest movies ever made. Genuinely frightening. This one is more genuinely frightening than this one. So this new one, well, which first of all was not needed, but it was supposed to surprise us. Which even if it was it's from its original title, The Woods, it would have been the same thing no matter what for what I say. It's just typical. A horror found footage, things go wrong, they have to try to get out of it, and then it's gonna pretty much have a downbeat ending, or is it with the typical like, oh, everybody dies? But there are some rare instances with the horror found footage where not everybody does die, which I was surprised. There was the St. Francisville experiment, the new one, As Above, So Below. That's one of the best horror found footage films I've seen of recently. There was another one called The Tunnel. That did something different to me. The Tunnel. But As Above, So Below, I enjoy that movie a lot. I think it's an underrated horror film. That from 2014. And I like the location of it. You know how it took place underground in Paris, and that thing I did that film. I would say As Above, So Below. I got more of that than this one. Yeah, I would say As Above, So Below is much better than this new Blair Witch sequel, which to me didn't need to be a sequel anyway. Well, also they're never gonna learn. There's like a time where they're just gonna make other connections with this original films, which we don't need. This film was a unique horror film, I would say, and it did a lot of like nowadays they never tried. Well, even though they try to make it as creepy as possible, overall when it's not, this film did things differently back in the late '90s, and I would say it's creepy and much more atmospheric. And yeah, some people probably don't like the slow build up to it, but I don't mind it because it's building up towards, oh, what's the word? I'm not saying to the scariness, but just with building with the chemistry between the three characters and how they're trying to get out of this stuff, out of the woods and stuff like that. The three characters are much more likable than any of these people I would see. So, but I don't want to get to it. And yeah, it comes out in September. It's supposed to come out in September. I ain't gonna see it. Even if I did, I'm just gonna. Oh, I'm gonna be going. Am I going into hating it? I don't know. I'm just not interested. I'm not seeing it. Just well, if it was original title The Woods, I would not have seen it anyway. But now it's now titled Blair Witch. I just did the fact that it was they tried to surprise us, with the Comic-Con and they calling it Blair Witch and just I just don't get it though. I just I'm not being interested in seeing it. If I do see it, it'll probably just piss me off and probably say I'll probably put on my it's gonna be on my worst list of 2016. It probably is insulting to me as a fan of the original film, which. And also another thing, if people don't like the original Blair Witch, that's their opinion. That's your opinion, But film, and I guarantee that this new Blair Witch film was not going to make the same amount of money that this film made. And I guarantee it's not going to be. It's not going to have the same amount of budget this film had. This film made it like with a very minimal budget, and one of the biggest hits for horror films, made over 247 million worldwide, and it was a mega huge hit. I don't see this new one being that big of a hit than this, making the same amount of money as this film had. And if people don't like it, that's fine. And plus, I'm still mad at this. This film still pisses. I can't even talk right. It still pisses me off. This film received Razzies and Stinker's Bad Movie Award. This is making me more pissed off that this film. I don't see how this is with a film that got widespread acclaim, yet it gets golden Razzies and Stinker's Bad Awards. Yeah, that's how it got received golden Razzies for Worst Picture and Worst Actress, and Stinker's Bad, Worst Screen Debut, Biggest Disappointment, Worst Actress, Worst Picture. What, biggest disappointment? What, the ending? I don't think it's that big a disappointment. That just pissed me off even more. But yeah, that's just my thoughts for this new Blair Witch movie. I'm just not gonna waste my money on watching this. I'll just wait for it to come on DVD. Well, probably buy it cheap because I ain't gonna pay like $20 for a brand new film. And I'm not even interested because I've seen plenty of bad movies this year. Will this film be worse than any of the films I've seen this year? I don't know because I'm probably not gonna see it. Well, like I said before, I'm not gonna pay money to see this in the theater. So, but best one of the scariest movies ever made. That's one of the biggest disagreements I could say. Now, I would say this is one of the best. I would say it's probably one of the scariest movies ever made, of its time, perhaps. But I could still put it one of the scariest movies ever made because it's my opinion, and I'm not wrong for my opinion. But yeah, after seeing this new one for Blair Witch, I probably will give this film a movie review, maybe in October. Yeah, as to why I really do enjoy this movie, and I would say it's a classic as well. So yeah, Blair Witch 2016, not for me. But hey, if anyone wants to see it, I'm not gonna stop you. They have the right to see it if you want to, but I'm not gonna see it. If I do, I'll just I can always watch it on somewhere for free online, because they do that with all the new releases anyway. So I'll find a way. But at this point right now, I'm not interested right now. But that's my thoughts on the trailer on the surprise trailer for Blair Witch. And thank God my next video will be about the new Doctor Strange. So even I would say that I'm more interested in the new trailer for Doctor Strange more than this one. So that'll be the next one. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next for my thoughts on Doctor Strange. For the second trailer for Doctor Strange. Later.